coffee takers. You are locked in into the Cyber Coffee Hour, where we brew insights and community into the digital world. I'm the People's Chief, Dr. Joseph J. Britt Miller Jr., and he's the one and only Master of Cyber Farms, Alfredo B. Nash Jr. We both
Yeah,
hail from the
yeah.
legendary streets of Mount Vernon, New York, but we're coming to you live and direct from the DMV area. So, broadcasting from the DMV with roots in Mount Vernon, New York, we bring you captivating conversations with today's most remarkable guests. Our mission to share knowledge, deepen understanding, and build community across the vast realm of cyberspace. So, grab your coffee and let's go. All right, so for today's show, it's gonna be special. We have a coffee chat, talk about season three for the
Yeah,
Cyber
yeah.
Coffee Hour. This is the season three kickoff, and so there's going we'll cover a couple of things. I think we'll discuss this season two recap. I know we pretty much kind of touched on that on the last episode of season two, but maybe just kind of go over a couple of things we that stuck out to us that we enjoyed from it. Um, we'll talk about what we did during the break, what we've learned up to this point, and like also like what we're excited about, for season three that we have upcoming. So I want to share, go over those things and share that with you all. Talk about our season three goals. What are the things that we want to do, what we want to accomplish for season three, and also CCH in the wild. Maybe that'll be a new term for us.
Yeah.
Maybe that'd be a segment or something. I don't know, but that'll be something where as we're out and about just doing regular stuff, people may stop us and talk cyber coffee out with us. So should be good. Look forward to talk about that, and then we'll close it out. Just talk, friends and I would just discuss, just what motivates us, what pushes us to do this crazy thing called podcasting and doing all this work and why we put ourselves through this. But no, it should be good. So if you haven't noticed already, we are live. We are live right now for the first time.
Yeah.
So it took till season three for us to get enough courage to start going live. So
Right. Curries and
first,
coffee.
yeah. So yeah, first time going live. So Alfredo, man, like first I'll throw it to you. Just well, first, how you feeling so far? I mean, yes, it's momentous. I said season three kickoff, first day, first like I said again, first time going live, first time ever. So, just what are your thoughts? How are you feeling?
Hey, there's too much going through my analytic factory right now. So first tired, like yeah, season two was a gauntlet. It ran a little bit of gauntlet, a lot of analysis work, a lot of side of desk work, a lot of cuts, emails, edits. Like you said, very very excited to be live because now we can look at that feedback and look at the means to edit and we can't go back. So so
Right.
first the first phase was like, oh yeah, we did a lot of edits, we did a lot of script work, a lot of audio checks. Well, we can't do that now. We got to do it for real.
Right. Right.
The second side was realizing how much work went into contacting folks, dropped a couple email balls, fumbled on the 50-yard line, talking to folks, and managing some of the partners. That was really daunting coming out of season two. But we learned, we live and we learn. And then what I realized too is I got to really understand how to take a break because we didn't. We said we
Yeah.
were going to take a break, but then I went into other side of desk activity and kind of got sick. So I realized that happened for 2 seasons. It can't happen in the third.
Right.
But
Right.
what about you? How's everything going on your end?
Yeah. No, man. It's been good. I say like firstly, just I think just kind of recognizing the moment and for us to get into this point now, season three. I think just very grateful. From what started as a an idea uh, from working on a dissertation. Because
Right, side of desk.
right, yeah. So I mean, so from what it's just, I think it just kind of shows just how crazy, just maybe just how life works. 'Cause, for us, we were disconnected a bit after high school, and then
15 years, dude.
yeah,
It's
and
crazy.
then our mutual friend, he kind of brings us back together in a sense, And yeah, and then from there, when just like I said, when I mentioned dissertation, being part of my study, and when we had those interview questions, man, I was like, man, this is really good, man. This should be in a podcast, and yeah, and then it's really just I think everyone knows by now. Just kind of going through that, they've heard the story. If not, to go back check season one.
Right.
But
Like, share, and subscribe while you do
right, absolutely, absolutely.
that.
But no, but yeah, just going through that, man. Just all the work that was put in, and we're still doing now. But I mean, it's just showing the growth. So I'm just really proud of like the work that we've done, everything to get to this point. I appreciate everyone who supported us. Honestly, it's been humbling. Our friends, we talked about it. Just at times, you feel like, when we hit the record button, we wonder if anyone's even listening or even watching. So
Namaste. I learned something new. Warrior scholar. Boom. Yes. And it's
yeah,
very humbling, man, because I still don't get that feeling. Like we talked about in the first season, like, it's kind of weird in a sense, but I encourage everyone to do it. I don't know if that makes sense. Right. Because I was hesitant. I didn't want to put content online. I remember we took like 2 years researching like where we were going to go, all the podcasts we listened to, and then how not to show up boring. Remember that? We were like, yo, we don't want to be boring coming out here talking about stuff people aren't going to tap into. But yeah, Warrior Scholar now, we got that locked in.
yeah.
The other side is literally shout out to the other side of the firewall. Remember we had them on season 2, and we had a
Oh
couple
yeah.
couple stints with them, but they were very they offered a lot of encouragement to have us show up and do what we got to do. So I really really want to shout them out too, and shout out anyone that's hesitant to create content. Do it. Pair up with somebody that's done it. Get a mentor mentee relationship, trainer situation, which we talked about a lot in season 2. That was a lot of that in season 2. And just do it. Reach out. Get that community of practice and show up in this content arena, because it is a bit of a gauntlet, but it feels right now, it feels like it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we like I said, we discussed about maybe looking back at season 2. I think that's a great segue. Just what are some of the when we talk about maybe highlights or even favorite episodes. I have to say that first one that we started, as I mentioned, we did that mashup with the other side of the firewall crew, and first time ever, because a lot of the stuff, man, kind of starts up from I don't know about you, friends, but at least for me, like, kind of starts out as fandom. Like, as we, for me, just listening to other podcasts, and because to me, when I do this too, I'm also that's my way of learning. Just kind of watching others do it, and kind of, you want to pick up, take notes on different things, and so, other side of the firewall, I really gravitated to them because for one, they look like us, and they're doing
100%.
this work, within cybersecurity, and man, I thought it was cool. I thought what they put out there was very engaging. It was fun. I enjoyed listening to them, and I just wanted to show support. So yeah, so when we be able to reach out to them and say, hey, like, think about maybe doing a mashup, and I know we've had our individual interviews with Ryan leading up to that. But I thought it was cool. I thought it was a big deal, for us to have both shows do like a mashup. You hear about, I was kind of thinking about like even with comic books when they have like superheroes doing a crossover episode, stuff like that. So I kind of got the idea from that. But I thought it was really cool. I thought it was nice. Honestly, I like to do more of that. Honestly, because as you mentioned, our friends are like, yeah, those who starting to maybe think about doing this. You don't want to you don't want to make it so much that you're trying to compete with everyone. You can collab. There's enough room out here to do this. Like, you can collaborate. You don't need to step on nobody. Um, I think that's what, to me, that's the real essence of growth, where we're able to work with one another and generally help each other grow. So I mean, and I think that first episode of season 2 was a direct example of that.
Yeah, 100%. We came full circle, right? So we said the main thing was to stay curious and caffeinated, and we did. We learned while doing too. There's little mantras that come up, but I think about like on the fly. But we learned while doing this that we could show up and not compete, but collaborate. Because I think competition is whack. I'm be real. I'm gonna just cough it up. You're competing in an industry that's already highly competitive. So you're really like down leveling. You're really degrading the value and the potential opportunity to learn while doing cybersecurity. So let's put that on the show too. The second side is the lack of collaboration really makes a like stalemate or stagnant air where there's like, knowledge hoarding, the toxicity type mindset. So I never was for competing. A lot of folks in the industry can know that. Like I like to partner and collaborate and work with cool friends. So I received that from you too, because it's cool to work with you. We was at the same gig,
Yeah.
So that was another part we had to put out. We was at the same gig. I had never worked with anybody before a startup that was from where I was from. So a lot of that shows up in the show now because we're learning how to do that. And I don't think the industry highlights that the competition really works against you in this industry. Right. And it should be more collaborative, and it should be encouraging, like learn by doing. Like we're learning this literally right now by doing it and reaching out to other partners in the industry. So that's something that came up this time. At least I hope that the theme of this season will be to keep the coffee brewing, because we're going to be doing that. We're going to be learning while doing it,
Mhm.
and learning while streaming is difficult,
Yes. Um, I think that's a great segue, when we talk about, um, as we gotta learn by doing, but also how important it is, getting feedback. I mean, just dating back to season one, not completely knowing what we're doing, and I mean, still learning now. But um, if we look back from how we started to where we are now, you could definitely see the gradual change and growth from then, and that is not just because of our own volition. It's because of the incredible guests that we've had, and they were gracious enough to share that feedback with us, and some of the things that they enjoyed or didn't enjoy. I
Yeah,
think
that's the
that's
part we got to
valuable
remember.
to. Yeah, no, I think that's valuable to know, because honestly, it doesn't really matter. I don't think it necessarily matters so much as for me and you, but what does the audience think? Like, how do they receive it? What do they like? And we want to make sure that we're kind of catering to that, to a point that we're putting out content that is helpful, that is reaching the people that we want to reach, and yeah, and that we're always looking to try to improve and try to get better. So yeah, so I just want to thank everyone who's supported Cyber Coffee Hour up to this point, and those who've given us feedback. All our guests have done that, and just giving us support, over the years.
Yeah, 100%. The hardest part of that too was actually realizing folks do comment in the YouTube. Remember, I was saying that season two, like folks
Uh,
actually comment and say, "Hey, I would like to see so and so on the show," or "I like to see you guys talk about this topic." And it was getting real challenging to continuously improve on YouTube. So yeah, 100%. Thank you for the support. Keep rolling, keep the coffee brewing. Like, share, and subscribe.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, so during the break, so as we ended season two, so we and leading up to this moment now. I know, for as you say, didn't really have much of a break, but what were maybe some of the things that you did get into, or like try to squeeze in some fun during that time.
So yeah, the first off, I just gotta apologize to my family. We didn't go to as many state parks and like fairs that we used to go through in the last two seasons. So first and foremost, I love my family and I apologize, right? Because they're the first to actually witness, their dad and significant other podcasting. So a lot of kids pay attention. They're like, "Yo, does your dad on YouTube?" And so that happened at the beginning of the summer. Coming back
Mm.
into I take my kids to a summer nature camp, and one of the kids stopped and said, "Your dad is on YouTube." And I was like, "Oh, excuse me, like, do your parents watch, YouTube? Like,
Yeah.
how did you know?" Like, apparently we actually show up on YouTube in different ads and things like that. So that was kind of humbling. And then going back from that, the beginning of the summer, I helped Still Metal Peace Park out here in Baltimore City. So we planted what's called a bioswale. So that was the first like legit time I could say you could find me in the forest.
Mm.
But the idea is to make this retention to stop flooding that's in the area. And it was real humbling because a lot of folks were in industry, like Parks and Recs, forestry teams, Baltimore Blue Water, shout out to them, friends of Herring Park. It was just a whole like how to describe experience to say like we all came out here to plant trees and save an ecological center. So that's how I started the summer and middle of season two, and I was exhausted. I'll be honest with you, I never done anything like that. But it was very humbling to see city officials and everybody come together for one mission. Again, mission is important too, right? So I've done that before in other places in cyber. I've never done it outside of cyber to that extent. So that's how I started the summer. Then what you call it? Did a couple barbecues, which is cool, right here in my backyard. Had a few situations and fireworks in July, so I finally launched off a
Right.
little festive celebration here, which I remember saying in season two, but it got got a little tense because my neighborhood started doing a bunch of fireworks, so I was kind of like, let me drive to a park and launch some stuff off. But outside of that, I do remember also volunteering for a food bank, Maryland Food Bank. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that through a colleague that went to basically like I don't know how to describe it, like a market, food market, and donation center. So from the nature work that I did, they told me to go check out Maryland Food Bank, and I did. So a couple runs with them, couple cancellations. I realized that it's very difficult to manage the podcast side of desk work during the summer. New job, by the way. I started a new gig coming out of some layoff period at American Red Cross. So I was kind of balancing these things and trying to still have fun. So I
Yeah.
went to the food bank, did that, and then I went after I did the food bank. I did a community emergency response training at the same place, the same nature center that I'm building up now, Castile Meadow Peace Park. Shout out to them again. Very cool team, very cool church. First of all, it's a church in the area of Baltimore, so it's a very
Okay.
tight community, and they're rocking and rolling. And then towards the end, I had to say, well, let me take a break, and I officially went up to see my new nephew. I have a new nephew in my family, and spent
Oh,
time
nice.
in New York. Yeah, spent time in New York finally with my family, welcoming him and celebrating his first birthday. And then I came back here and got sick. I don't know if it was somewhere in between, but I realized like, yeah, I'm not as young as a spring chicken as I thought I was. So I had to take a break for a couple of days actually to get back and recover from that right before we launched. So
Right.
so it
Yeah.
just came full circle this season. I realized like my limitations, and it was pretty humbling to understand that I do need to learn how to take a break. You know.
I think that's a great point too. I think I'm kind of was in the same boat. I don't think, if I'm being honest, I don't think I took enough time to like really maybe decompress or really have fun per se.
Right.
I don't say that as a point of pride. I say that more as I was like, I think I should try to have a little bit more fun. I did get to spend time with my kids. Went out and one thing is that's crazy, man. Like, of course, as we're all getting older, for me, uh, I always had the image of my kids when they were younger.
Ah
That's I think
man.
that always sticks in my head. So like when I
Yeah.
see them now and teenagers and young adults, I'm like, yo, what is happening? My oldest son, he's pretty much driving now. And my youngest son, and they both into sports. My oldest son Xavier, he's doing well in basketball, and my youngest son Ricky, he's doing football. So yeah, it's just crazy just seeing them grow up, and I think I understand like when kind of looking back now, as for my parents always. They always see me as a small kid. I'm like, yo, I'm a grown man now. Like, like, but I think I definitely understand it now because like for me, I still see my kids as when they were small, like that's always in my mind. So then when I see them, they growing and the voice getting all deep and stuff like that, it's like it's kind of jarring a bit. But it's just part of life. And my twin daughters, they're out adulting. They're working and starting their careers and their lives. So just very proud of them and just what they're doing and just pursuing what they really enjoy. And just it's just like I said, it's just a blessing just to see them grow and to be able to just do great things and to contribute back to the community. So yeah, so was able to spend time with them and then uh, really just try to Yeah, I'll say probably the most uneventful summer, man. I don't know, cause I just did. I mean, no, let me take that back. Did try to go out to like a couple of sporting events and stuff like that. I went, catch a couple of Yankees games, which was cool. I think I really enjoyed that. So whenever I try to catch a game, I'll do that. But then it was just more of the same where I'm just kind of just hanging out or going to hitting the gym, stuff like that. Just getting some fresh air. But yeah, but like any like big events. I mean, a couple of things here and there throughout the summer, but nothing real big. To be honest. But
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I just sorry to cut you real quick.
no, no,
I
you're good.
gotta get in the gym too. I gotta give you, my brother, my cousins credit because that's what's wearing me out, man. This starts to feel like the gym. Just sitting,
Mm,
recording up, down, left, right, A, B. Getting fresh air helps. And I hike a couple miles. But you're right. Anybody recommend any good gym memberships? Let me know because I realize that's the difference when we like you spin up, I'm spinning down. I spin down, you spin up. And I realize in our schedule like the one thing I didn't make enough time for was gym this year. So I'm gonna look for that this season. Look to go to the gym and start like leveling up, man.
yeah, we're not getting any
I
younger,
know
so
this, man. Yeah, it's
definitely.
ridiculous.
I think I look at it as you're just you're pretty much priming yourself for the later years when
Right.
it's it's gonna be even more difficult to work out. So
100%. You
you
sound like my
kind of want
cousin
to
too.
you kind of want to get your body in the state that you want it to be, and then just maintain. You know, I, I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound morbid or anything like that, but I think it's just fact of life. Like, as like I said, as you get older, unless you're an athlete, it's gonna be really tough to start working out if you haven't been doing so already or to get yourself to that point. Not saying it's impossible. People have done it, but if you
No, let's
can,
be
if
real.
you
It
can
is
knock it out.
impossible. It is impossible. You get hurt or you do
Mhm.
side of desk activity like your boy over here, you might not be able to recover. So, like pulling a tree out the ground, like I learned, I told you, I pulled something out the ground and like my shoulder, like
Yeah.
started acting up. And then shout out to Ryan too, because I know he got hurt and he said the same thing. Like, yo, it's not that rapid recovery like you used to 20
Oh,
years ago.
it takes yeah, it takes much longer now to recover. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I look at like much like you. I mean, I'm gonna take notes from you too. I look at the younger groups, the 20 somethings, and I try to tell the young dudes like, yo, stay hydrated, be don't pick up something too heavy. And I was like, damn, I sound like my dad. Like, like
Yeah.
you can hurt yourself, and it took me about 2 to 3 weeks to recover. And I was like, oh, yep, that's because I don't go to the gym every day. And it's not more because you're right. You make a good point too. Even in leisure, you want to go out the hike and have fun on a cruise, go to these sports games, and then you twist your ankle on the stairs the wrong way. you know,
Mm,
like you got to be able to have that rapid recovery. So I do want to say that too. I took 55 pounds off last season, just changing diet. But now I
right.
got to take a couple more pounds off so I can, like you said, make it to like 85, 90, God willing.
And also too, honestly, man, and you'll see this too for your kids, but like my sons, young teenagers, they're competitive, so
Oh yeah, I'm
I
already
got
seeing
big
my
man.
like 5-year-old son. Like,
Yeah, so I gotta keep up with them. Cause too, man, they talk a lot of trash too. So
yeah,
I can't be you can't be having that. So that's another motivation for me to stay in the gym.
100%.
So yeah, so we're you're listening to us here live on the Cyber Coffee Hour, part of the Alive Podcast Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. Show your support, show your love. Again, as we are live and direct for the very first time. It took us to season 3 to do this, but like I said, we finally got the gumption to hit that live button now. But so as we cross over now, and we'll talk about like what we're excited for, coming for season 3, and so Alfredo, I'll pitch it to you. Like like what are some things you feel for you? Like what are you, I guess, most excited about as we start this new season?
I'm still excited to continuously learn by doing, but now I could kind of see the industry. So I'm very excited to hear from the partnerships, our founders, a hall of founders, which you'll find on our link tree, and also reflection. I'm very excited to reflect on how we got here, what we can do going forward, some more goals and transitions, growth. and then leveling up. I'm always excited, like I said, in multiple venues now in this industry, to continuously level up, continue to do the boss battle, platform, video game style, hustle mode, but also take a moment to humble and reflect like we just did, right? Like it was not easy to get here. So I just want to shout that out. Like you got to run the gauntlet, like folks have heard me say on the other side of the firewall here and the other podcasts. But also, we got to also take a moment to, I guess, how do I say this? Prepare and accept the growth. That's what I can think of right now. Prepare and accept the growth and give yourself space to say, what can we take a moment to rest and reflect on? Because it was very difficult to get here. And most of the time we don't talk about that enough. So that's a goal to do in season three, is to talk about how we basically keep the coffee brewing. You know, we did a lot of back of house work, a lot of partnerships in order to get with the live, right? So we did a live syndication. Shout out to Live Podcast Network. And then we also got more racked and stacked. So I'm very excited just to say the side of desk activity can come to light in this season. How we build the partnerships, how we negotiate some of the interviews, how we look for sponsorship. Right, that's something that we learned this season too. Was almost like a necessity to keep the coffee lights on, and then
Right.
stick to it, keep going, keep rolling, keep rolling strong, take a hit and keep going. So, that's what I'm really excited about. Season three is really us showing up and showing our coffee maker followers, right? We got coffee makers now, how we
Yeah.
did it. Oh, and then we can also reflect on the original goal. Like we thought we were going to reach out to coffee owners. Remember? So
Hmm.
now we're going to be doing that. We're going to be reaching out to the actual coffee makers in the specialty industry. So from podcast to specialty coffee industry, which is amazing. I'm just glad we're able to do that.
Yeah. No. No. I think that's awesome. Yeah. For me, I'd say like for what I'm most excited about is just seeing. Um, I think the work that we've done, like I said, from season one and season two, and as you mentioned, just learning. I think that's a big part of this. Is as we're learning, the confidence is growing. I think today, right now, is a direct example of that. Going live, because
Right.
remember, season one, talk about going live. Nah,
Nah, nah, nah, nah.
we
Wait, hold
weren't
on.
ready. We weren't ready to do that.
Okay,
But
look,
yeah,
don't want to look foolish out here. Like you say, no foolishness
yeah,
with this coffee, man.
yeah. But again, that's an example of that, man. I think that's an example of growth. So yeah, so I am excited about like just what this leads to, like the work we've done, people that have reached out, and like I said, that have shown support, and it is led to partnerships, has led to different opportunities. So I am looking forward to that, and also what we can contribute back to the community. I think that to me that's the biggest thing is, yes, doing all these things, but like like who are we impacting? Someone who maybe at whatever stage in their career, whether they're just getting started or mid-career or maybe even retired. I don't know. Maybe they just want something to do and still stay connected to the cyber community. Add a cyber coffee hour to your playlist. And I definitely take pride in that. So yeah, so I'm excited as how we can best, like I said, directly impact the community and what that leads to, and how we can just add positivity and excitement too, to give, I think, cybersecurity a different meaning for folks. Some people may have thought, um, you know, the cybersecurity field was unattainable for them because maybe they thought they weren't too smart, they weren't smart enough, or whatever the case may be, or they're being you know being treated differently for whatever reason, and they thought they weren't going to be accepted. So we want to make, I think that's probably one of the things I'm excited is that, and maybe that's a goal, that we want to make sure that, to reemphasize or to reiterate that, cybersecurity, this field is for everyone, um no matter what you do, what you look like, whatever the case may be. And also too, as we're doing this, to also have fun as well. Um, so I'm very proud of what we've done up to this point, the relationships that we've cultivated up to this point, and just like I said, just want to build from that, and just carry that momentum as we get into season three.
Something I'm gonna borrow from nature too is we're getting acclimated. right? So now we're settled in, and we're taking on the harsher conditions and some good conditions, but we're also, like you said, cultivating. I like that. I like that we're cultivating. And we're showing up as mentors too, right? Remember, we do side of desk mentee mentor type situations, but now we can show up live and do that as well. So that is a good opportunity for growth, like you mentioned. Like, I don't, you don't really, we don't really reflect on how many people are discouraged from coming into this industry, right?
Yeah.
Like you said. So now season three has allowed us to have that moment of reflection. And to your point, there's gardeners out here that are retired, and they they were in cyber, but they went out and retired literally, like they're supposed to retire gracefully is what comes to mind. Like, allow them the space and say, hell, hey, go talk to this person still in industry like us, right? right,
Mhm.
right. So that's a good caveat. I think we should look towards those avenues as well during season three.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and to add to that part of that growth, one thing I want to shout out, the Live Podcast Network.
Word.
So part of that partnership, we've been blessed to enter this new era of Apple TV,
Yeah.
Roku, Amazon Fire Stick. So you're gonna see that you're gonna be able to catch the Cyber Coffee Hour on Apple TV. Who would have thought that?
Hey, I can't wait
Um,
to hear from my mom.
yeah, man. I think that's really big, and like I said, just really grateful. Just just everything that we've done, and like I said, I think that's just a testament of the hard work that we put in, and it's allowed for these opportunities to come about. So I'm definitely looking forward to that as we get started in season three. And so everyone out there is your, whether you have Apple TV or Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, download their Live Podcast Network app, and then you can find the Cyber Coffee Hour on there and listen in.
Big
um
no.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, man, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. So,
yeah.
yeah, like I said, just really grateful for that, and yeah, just look forward to it's just more just it's just another example of those opportunities. As we put in the work, and the opportunities will present itself. So, just really thankful for that.
Yeah. So let's tap into that too. We said we were going to do, so we might see a new intro because of that line of line of business, that partnership with Alive. Also, we might also change up the show format. So stay by. Once we get our act together and continue to get better at live streaming, we're going to see two different formats and two intros come out of both platforms, live and pre-recorded, like we've done before. So that would be really cool. And then also you'll see a lot of our social engagements like we're doing now, YouTube, LinkedIn, and everything else that's in the espresso machine.
Yeah.
So Discord is on standby, Twitch is on standby, but we're also like working through our syndication to get those avenues live and open.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, especially when we talking about like because I think probably be a focus. Maybe I'll add this under my season three goals is to have more engagement with the community. So I think
Yeah.
having that Discord to supplement the episodes that we do, creating that, like I said, that community for people to engage and come through and just show their support. I want to be able to interact with those who support us, and be able to talk with them as well. I mean, then it may not necessarily have to be a guest of the show, but those who show support, they be able to engage with us, through those mediums, like as you mentioned, like Twitch or Discord, and that way we're going to see the community continue to grow. So, yeah, definitely look forward to that. Um, so I brought this up as we started the show. We talk about CCH in a while, the Cyber Coffee Hour in a while. And so I saw Fredzell kind of drawing this up for you as and kind of a little background for everyone listening is so CCH in the wild is pretty much as we're doing just our regular, just regular life. We're not necessarily, not even really working anything for the podcast. You just could be out shopping or whatever the case, maybe getting a haircut. I don't know. And people come up and share whether like a cyber coffee house story or interaction or the case may be. So yes, Alfredo, I'll throw it up to you. What was your CCH in a wild moment that you've had?
So it's kind of like a cowboy in a tree. I know we talked about the cowboy coffee situation too, but it was really humbling because I didn't realize how local we were, right? So the first hit was at B-Sides Charm. So I'm going around the booths and with our, well, we also have to talk about potential third host, which just dawned on me. But I'm going around with one of our mentees, right? And I stop at a vendor booth and they recognize my voice. So first it was so weird. It's like, what do you mean my voice?
Yeah.
Like you don't watch me. Well, first it was like, hey, you sound familiar. That's what it was. And they
Mm.
listen to audio on the train. So DC Metro, all around Maryland, they're listening to us on Spotify. And so
Okay.
a woman stops at the vendor booth. I can't remember the name right now, and she says, "Your voice sounds familiar." And I'm like, "Excuse you?" Like, they didn't realize, like, yeah, our voice showed up on audio first and in other, venues, right? And she says, well, what do you do? And I said, well, right now I'm here at, B-Sides Charm trying to figure out what you're selling. And she goes,
Yeah.
no, no, what do you do? You like, you literally, are you on the radio? Are you on, do you do public speaking? I said, oh yeah, I have a podcast, like
Yeah.
Cyber Coffee Hour. Have you heard of it? She says, that's you? And I was like, yeah, that's me. We just got on YouTube in season 2. And so that was like very humbling. I didn't realize that folks will show up in all of the conferences now and say, hey, that's that guy, right? That's the guy in Cyber Coffee Hour. The second humble emotion in season 2 was again, still Middle Peace Park. So I'm out there. I have different gear on, right? So I have gardener
Right.
gear, I got sunglasses, I got a water pack. I'm pretty decked out, right? So as I'm coming out one of the bio swells, the city official stops and said, you look familiar. So this is the second hit, right? What do you mean look familiar? I'm not really out here like that planting trees, like I'm not working
Right.
with the city or whatever. No, I swear you look familiar. What do you do? And I said, oh, I have a podcast called Cyber Coffee. Is it on YouTube? I was like, yes. Oh, that's you. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm not used. It's kind of for me. I'm a very private person, right? Like
Yeah.
I didn't realize until season 2, like how we show up on all these different forms of media. So yeah, city official, I got their contact side of the desk, and I said, hey, let's look to partner, right? Let's look to partner. Let's talk about some of the other activities outside of cyber, because she didn't really have a cyber mission. It was like a climate justice kind of mission. So we'll probably have her on later. And then finally, Rockville side of the desk. I was sitting in a particular coffee shop, and I'm on my laptop, I'm like getting sorted out for work and stuff. And a dude comes up, hey man, you look familiar again. And I'm like, yo, man, what's up? Like,
Yeah, you don't know what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Be on
exactly.
guard.
That Mount Vernon
Yeah.
kicked in for real. Like, yo, I'm about to
Yeah.
get hit up or something. I'm like, like, what you mean? I look familiar, but like I'm at a coffee shop trying to work. Like. And he's like, no, I've listened to you. I think I just followed you on YouTube. I said, oh man,
Yeah.
keep now. I'm be honest with you, man. The street
Now you
kicking
can relax.
yeah. Let's settle that side of the brain. Hey, man, you know what? Appreciate
Right.
you. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know, how you like the show. We got 2 seasons, and then now season 3 is about to jump off. And it was like
Yeah.
real chill. It was real chill after that. And I didn't realize how, people listen to us in their daily commute. I mean, even like that's like 2 passion ships, right? Like we work in an industry where we'll see other folks show up at a gig or show up side the desk. And I'm a contractor. Let's be real. Let's talk about it too. I go wherever the money's flowing. So it was different.
Right.
Like, hey, hey, I do the same thing, and I listen to you for advice. He was a new person in industry.
Right.
He said, I listened to you and other shows for advice on how to break in and level up. And I heard you say that on YouTube. So I just wanted to reach out. And I thought that was the last strike, like 3 strikes. Like, all right, yo, gotta show up, gotta show out, gotta be a little humble. Can't be all hood, showing up ready to defend yourself, because it was a young guy, it was a young guy. So I felt kind of bad. Like,
no, I think that's something to get used to. That is going to be a new feeling. Because for one, we are putting ourselves out there. Our likeness, our face, our voice. So yeah. So when you have these interactions, they essentially may know us, but we don't know them.
right.
So I mean, I understand it can be a little like, I don't know who you are, man. Like,
Right. Where you?
So-
Where you
So
No,
once they state, they come in peace, then you're like, all right, now I
yeah,
can,
yeah, I
relax a
can
bit.
relax,
But
right? Stand down a
but
little bit.
so I think that's gonna come with it, man. But I think that's awesome. To me, I think that's awesome to be able to, for one, that they're listening to the show and they're showing support, and so as they they see us out and about. As I mentioned, this could be a new segment. Maybe as we get these stories as they come about. CCH in a while. So yeah, if you
Mhm.
see us out and about, you hear about us, come by, say hi to us, let us know you come in peace. But no, I think that's pretty cool, man, because again, it just really shows the growth, and we appreciate everyone that's showing their support, and up to this point, and we
Peace and
promise
love
to,
comes to mind.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. So we want to continue delivering great content for everyone. So again, please continue to show support, like, share, subscribe, um, and like I said, just be on the lookout for more as we continue to develop and have more things that we want to put out for the community. So as we start to wrap up, Fred. So I think one question we want that I want to kind of ruminate on is like what motivates us to do this. Or what pushes us to go through all the setup, the work, creating the rundowns, doing the episode editing and stuff like that. Like, for you, Alfred, is it like what's one of the for you personally, like what motivates you to for one to do this, and then two to continue to do this?
All right, so let's start with the want, right? The want versus the need, right? So the want is really to have my kids look back 20 years from now and say, this was my dad's business, right? This is what my
Mhm.
dad did. Because in the beginning of my career, I had a physical security guard tell me, like, why you work so hard? Why you stay up late at night? This is not your father's business. Well, now I got to remember to pay that back to my legacy, my kids. I want them to show up in cybersecurity and be comfortable and influence their peers and say, yo, that's what your dad did. Your dad really helped us out. And it's happened. This happened. They're young. I got little babies, 8, 9, and 5. Shout out to the Nash family, right? Like the babies are really what we're looking out for in this industry that is very adverse, very hard to break into, very stressful. There's burnout, there's late nights, there's like studying, multiple degrees. I want to ease that for my legacy going forward and other folks' legacy, other families, community, right? Tribal knowledge, shares wealth. It takes a village. So I
Mhm.
look back at the want for that for myself and others. So teach myself and then teach others. Shout out to Damon Brown, Chappie Brown, right? We had him on, and that's where I borrowed that from. I realized like there is a legacy to running a cybersecurity business now, which is showing up here, right? A startup, right? Even if it's just podcasting, right? I want my kids to look back and say, "Yo, Dad, you did that." I don't want to be old and be like, "Yeah, it's on YouTube. You got it, right? You could go do what you want to do in cyber, right?" So now comes the need. Now we don't hire folks. We're two guys. you know,
Right.
we kind of realize like we're like one man obstinate, as a team here, but it's also
Right.
the idea to ask for help, right? I want to be able to say what
Right.
motivates me now is like, yo, we can actually get trainers to train people. We can actually get folks to come to a conference with us and shoot it out, right? Like literally go to a CTF.
Yeah.
Right. We could go to conferences we never been to. So that need is still what keeps me going is like the reach in the community, in the cybersecurity community, and start becoming that tribal leader. Like I said about Brother Abishai, right? Like from everybody who knows, shout out to Mount Vernon, New York. That guy was very motivated, right? To see the tribe. And it wasn't just him, but he stood out as that beacon in the community. Said, look, man, I seen that guy here. I can do it. If I can
Mhm.
encourage, if I can encourage competition, I can go the other way and encourage collaboration, partnership, sponsorship, affiliate marketing. Things I don't, to be honest with you, I don't really know. I had to learn that from other cyber experiences. So here I get to teach, like I said, learn while doing, and then teach others how to do that. So the trainer mindset, the mentee and mentees come up, your mentors comes up, but also the need kind of like, well, we can't let people down now. Now we got people
Yeah.
locked in, right? We can't be hypocritical and say it's easy. Like we had feedback in season 2. Someone said, oh, we thought it was easy to get into cybersecurity. I'm not gonna shout them out, but I gotta resist that urge. But it's not easy. It's not easy to get in, and it's not easy to defend forward, to defend defenders, right? To train people to be specialized in this industry, but you can do it with a mentor. You can do it with like a boxing coach, right? Like a sparrer, like that's
Yeah.
my I guess the need to stay and keep doing this and keep the coffee brewing.
No, I think that's amazing, man, and I'll definitely piggyback on that. We talk about legacy. I I think when we talk about that, I think about my kids. I think about like what is the impact? What is the lasting impact we want to leave? And I think specifically, I think about, of course, something I could leave for my kids. And there was actually a sermon about a pastor named Brian Bullock. I'm sorry, I can't remember the church he's from, but I think it's in Charlotte.
Mm.
And it was so from time to time I do listen to like motivational speeches, on Spotify and YouTube. So it wasn't a full sermon, it was a clip from his sermon, and it came up on there. So I'm listening, and it really got me revved up, man, because he started it out. He's just listing, and it was a learning moment for me because I didn't know this. So like he's just listing all these different companies, but their family names, like Rolls
Nice.
Royce, McDonald's,
Yep.
you,
You
you, you
got to
know,
share that now.
yeah, all these different companies, but they're all like Wells Fargo,
Right.
all these names, these companies we hear that we know, but they're family names. And honestly, I did not know all of them were family names, but it just goes to show this is something that they built, and they're leaving for the next generation within their respective families. Ford,
Right. Right.
stuff like that. So it just got me thinking, like, man, like, okay, like this is the time now that we're building something that we can leave for for our kids, for our next generation that's coming up. So when we're gone from the earth, they have something to build and continue, and to create that when we talk about generational wealth, it starts with us. It starts, I think, for one, to start having that mindset, because you have to have that legacy mindset.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, that's from another sermon I've heard. I think actually from the same pastor. I think he talked about that too. But um but I think it's true, man. I think we don't want to just sit idly by and just let time go by and not do anything, not have any impact, not have anything that we're contributing positively to the world. Because when we look back, when our time comes, we want to be able to say that we've left something positive for the world. You think about like maybe different artists, like musical artists who've, great musicians, who've done a lot of great work. That music that we listen to this day, and they've already left the earth, but we still listen to their music now. That's
Mm-hmm.
legacy. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Something that you leave for the world and that will last, a lasting legacy. So yeah, when we talk about what motivates us to do this, yeah, a big part of that is legacy. I want to be able to leave something, for one, for my children, and then also number two, then for the rest of the world. Like, I want us to be recognized within the cyber community as a trusted source when it comes to, as far as for this, for cybersecurity knowledge, podcasting, wherever the case may be. That, all right, hey, you want to learn about this, make sure Cyber Coffee Hour is part of your playlist. You know what I'm
100%.
saying?
100%. It's interesting you say that too, because it just dawned on me how much people do their homework to say, like, what do you do in cybersecurity? So there was, I'll tell you a story too in Virginia, right? So when I was at a particular financial center, Capital One, I stopped at a Starbucks, and there was a saying down there like, "What did your daddy do?" And I forgot the lady's name, right? But she was explaining that legacy of, like, you can't be industry, you can't be hypocritical if you're not showing up as a profession, because then your kids are going to show up and be that hypocrite, right? Your
Right.
kids are going to come in and they're going to be like, "Oh, this is what my dad did, and therefore you don't have to do this in cybersecurity." And it's kind of like a wood ear with that too, because I want my kids to be better if they choose to come into cybersecurity, right? Because
Right.
I want them to have the choice not to go the same route that their dad did, and then I want them to have that influence and listen to their peers and say, "Look, this is what you have to do. This is what we should do as a community of practice." See, I didn't. We told you this before. We didn't have that. Look at 15 years goes by before I see anybody that looks like me, sounds like me, came from where I'm from, and hustled the way I hustle. Oh, there it is. Right now, it's us two saying that back to the community. Like, look, pair up, be that little like cohort, and start mentoring mentees. Right, be mentors of mentors, because it is a generational thing. It took 20 years to be successful in this industry for me. Right, I don't want my kids to run that same route. I want them to have a little bit of a like choice. Right, like, I don't know if that makes sense, but I want them not to have the same hardships in this industry. I want them to show up and be successful and enjoy their success. Because, like I said, in 15 years, I wasn't as happy as I thought I would be until I started this. Like until I started realizing like I got a brain on my shoulders. I should start sharing it and moving some of these obstacles for not just my kids, but also the community.
Right.
Right. And we talked about it with the job market turned down too. Right. That was rough, and it's still rough. I know we don't talk about it as much, but it's still rough realizing that there's not that community of practice out here yet. It comes in waves, but it doesn't stay consistent. So yeah, that's well received in season 3 for sure. Keep this coffee brewing. Again, I'm gonna say it again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yet, and last thing I add to this is that yet I think about my son Xavier. He, in high school, and he's studying cyber, so he talked to
Nice.
me and asking about, because they had their curriculum, the school curriculum, and they had like different programs. So we had discussed like what path he should start, as it pertains to cybersecurity. So so he's starting the fundamentals right now. But that's just a prime example, man. Like like I said, that's that motivation there alone. I want to leave something solid. I want to leave something positive that he could take on and take it to a whole different level, take it to a higher
Right,
level.
exactly. That's
So
the
it
real level up. That's the real
right.
level up right there.
So, but yeah, that's the motivation, man. I think if we put a theme for both of our stories, I guess it'd be legacy. Honestly,
Yeah.
I think that's what really pushes us to do this.
It's not quite the philosopher's legacy like in Metal Gear. Shout out to my cousins, but it's close. It's gonna be close, man, because there's an idea that they have to surpass their dad. Like you said, it's like sibling rivalry too. Like even if you see a sibling in an industry, like, yo, we got to level up, we got to keep, steel sharpen steel, right? All things have to rise at the same time. It's not this competition that we came up with, so I
Mhm.
definitely, it is definitely a message received on legacy, but it's just we got to start honing this craft, because there are things that we have to do to in order to solidify our platform and solidify, like we said, solidify where we show up. Right. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to start rambling. And this is not a sermon to you. I'm not a pastor, right? But it comes to mind like how influential that the show has become and will continue to be going forward.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, that's a wrap on another episode of the Cyber Coffee Hour, part of the Live Podcast Network. So we hope you enjoyed our discussion, our chat during the season 3 kickoff of the Cyber Coffee Hour. So don't forget, you can find more amazing shows like ours on the Live Podcast Network app. If you'd like to show your support and keep the coffee brewing, you can contribute to the cause by checking out our link tree and donating to our Buy Me a Coffee platform. Huge thank you to all of our listeners. So please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our show. So until next time, stay safe out there and keep brewing.
Yeah.
All right.